All right. We're going to take a look at some algebra. Now we're starting with easy stuff. And I want us to think our way through these math kind of questions, but I don't want you to just do these without thinking about what you're doing. I want you to think about the math that you're doing behind the real quick. Oh, I know that one, right? For example, the first one here, 5 times g equals 15. So the question is, what are we looking for? We're looking to find out, okay, what is g equal to? So we're thinking 5 times what number gives us 15? And if we know our times tables, we know, oh, okay, g is equal to 3. Because 5 times 3 is equal to 15. Okay, next one here. X divided by 4 is equal to 5. Well, here, of course, we're thinking, okay, what number if I divide it by 4 gives me 5? Right? If you've been doing your ninja math, you get these all the time. And in this case, it's going to be 20, right? Now, I can write it as x equals 20 or 20 equals x. Either of those work. They're both communicating the exact same fact. All right, your turn. Pause it for a moment and try these ones. All right, I will give quick solutions here. Now with these last two, I want you to think about these just for a moment now that you have the solutions. If you didn't know that 4 times 9 equals 36, how could you figure this out without just inspecting it and figuring it out? Well, what you could do is you could say, well, I know that 36 divided by 4 should give me the answer to 4 times what equals 36. So that's something to keep in mind. Here, I could look at this and say, well, m divided by 2 is equal to 7. I could say, well, if I multiplied 7 times 2, that should get me to my answer. So keep that in mind as we move forward here. Here we've got a multiplication, and we did some division to find out the answer. Here we have m over 2, or m divided by 2. We did some multiplication to find our answer. All right, and in fact, here we go. We're going to do the opposite operation to get the variable by itself, and we're going to do the same thing on both sides. Now, mathematically, that's what keeps this whole thing equal, right? If it's like a teeter-totter, if I add something to one side, I got to add something to the other. If I multiply one side by something, I got to do the same thing on the other. Divide one side by something, I got to do the same thing on the other. Subtract something from one side, got to do the same thing on the other. All right, so let's take a look here. We're going to apply the opposite operation. 9 times some number is equal to 900. So I am going to divide both sides by 9. Now this side here, the dividing by 9 is not pointless, but it's a really easy thing because what we're actually doing is just getting rid of the 9. Because what is 9 divided by 9? Well, it's 1. And 1 times t is simply t. So I'm left on this side of my equation with simply t. And on the other side, 900 divided by 9, I can do that in my head. That's 100. If I couldn't do it in my head, I could use a calculator. And so I've got t is equal to 100. Now, I probably could have done this by inspection, absolutely. But we start with easy ones so that you can do it kind of by inspection to check it, and you also do the problem using the opposite operation, because at some point in the future, you're going to get to questions that are just too hard to solve by inspection. Okay, so let's move on. Your turn here. Now these ones, I know you can solve these by inspection, or you should be able to, but I want you to show your work the right way. So pause it and actually give it a try. All right, I'm starting, so if you haven't paused it yet, pause it and give it a try. I'm going to divide both sides here by 3. 3 divided by 3 is just 1, so the 3 just goes away. So mathematically, to make the 3 go away, I have to divide it by itself. And then I got to do the same thing on the other side. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Hopefully. All right, over here, I've got 9 times some number, so I'm going to divide both sides by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1, so I've got t is all I got left over here. 72 divided by 9, that's 8. All right. Now, some of you are going to be asking me, why do I have to do it this way? Why can't I just solve it by inspection? And the reason is, as I've stated already, you're eventually going to get ones that you can't just do in your head. And by the time you get to grade 9, you're doing ones where the answers will be fractions or decimals, in which case they're not numbers you'd be expected to do in your head. Right? You already have the tools to solve the stuff that you're going to deal with in grade 9 with this little thing here. All right, so let's continue. In this case, we're starting with division. So g divided by 3 is equal to 29. Now, this one is a little bit harder to do in your head, so it's a good one to practice with. Now, here I have to multiply both sides by 3. And this is one of the cases where the fact that you haven't learned multiplication of fractions yet sort of makes this harder. But what I've got right now is the same thing we had on at the top there. Now I have, if I wrote this out, I have 3 times g divided by 3. Well, 3 divided by 3 is 1. I'm left with just g on this side. Okay, so that goes away. I'm left with, and I'll just rewrite this here as g is equal to, well, 29 times 3. Maybe you need a calculator. I look at this and say, well, 30 times 3 is 90, and it's 3 less than that, so it's going to be 87. G is equal to 87. All right, your turn. Give these ones a try. Again, don't just do it by inspection. Actually think it through. All right, so here I'm going to multiply this by something. And pause it if you haven't tried it. Do it yourself first, and then check. Multiply by 5. Multiply by 5. Okay, the 5's on this side go away. I'm left with just d is equal to 5 times 7, which is 35. Doesn't matter which way I write the answer here. 35 equals d means exactly the same as d equals 35. All right, here we're multiplying both sides by 3. Okay, I'm left with just an x on this side. This is the mathematical way of getting rid of the other stuff with the x. Okay. All right, I'm left with x is equal to 24. Does this work if I plug it back in here? Well, 24 divided by 3, yeah, that's 8. Does this one here work? 35 divided by 5, yeah, that's equal to 7. Okay, away we go. All right. These ones here, I want to go over these in class on Thursday morning. So try them for yourself. Get moving on to this assignment, and we will chat on Thursday. Thanks.